The Prequels Strike Back, A Fan's Journey, a documentary written and directed by Bradley Weatherholt. The film takes us on a level-headed journey through fandom. A look at fandom that could be applied to every generation of Star Wars, of every Star Wars film, both past and future. But hands down, my favorite part of the movie, without a doubt, hands down, was the roach. The roach. The roach. The roach. I'm just kidding, of course. Bradley Weatherholt's introduction, voiceover throughout the film, and closing statements at the end was some of the best documentary narration I've heard, especially for movie stuff. There's ambiguity in it. There's wonder to it. It's not preachy. It's not trying to convince you of anything. It's just instilling a little bit of wonderment. The documentary doesn't seek out to change your mind about the prequels. In fact, if you're a Star Wars fan and you're part of the YouTube, Reddit, forum, whatever internet community, you've no doubt heard a lot of what is said in defense of the prequels in this documentary. Going into the documentary, I was worried that it would be an hour and a half of people talking about ring composition, comparing it to mythology, telling the viewer that it's actually brilliant, and you don't like it because you don't get it. I guess I've been on the internet too much, because this documentary is not like that at all. There are some interesting observations explained by some of the interviewees. I found the discussion of John Williams' music throughout the saga pretty fascinating. The parallels between different pieces and themes from the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, that was neat to see. But if you listen to the Raiders of the Lost Ark soundtrack, you hear Star Wars in that too, so yeah. I find myself agreeing with what Chris Gore says in the documentary. He says he tends to think a lot of these theories are bullshit, they're done after the fact. I tend to agree. I know there's always two sides to a coin and things are rarely black and white, often with numerous interpretations, but it's always been funny to me to hear people saying maybe you as an adult might not like the movies because they're made for kids and you're not a kid, and then diving into film theory. You know what I mean? You don't like it because they're for kids, which is absolutely true, but then they talk, I don't know. I think the name of the documentary is actually a little deceiving, The Prequels Strike Back. Despite the 30-minute chunk or so, where we're actually talking about film theory, the ring theory, how Lucas was directly influenced and pulled from past films, which was all very interesting, and you could probably do a very similar scene breakdown for any director's filmography, right? But the vast majority of the documentary was a level-headed look at fandom, why people love what they love, acceptance, tradition, family, all that stuff. It's really fascinating to see the parallels between the reaction to the prequels and the reaction to the sequel trilogy that is going on right now. If you were to take out the word prequel in this documentary when talking about fan reactions and replace it with the word sequel, you would basically have the same exact documentary. It would make just as much sense as it does right now. I doubt the documentary will change your mind about liking or disliking the Star Wars prequels, and that's not its goal. It's like the music you grew up with, right? It'll probably always be your favorite. Some interesting observations might make you appreciate, the newer stuff or the stuff you haven't listened to or the stuff you didn't grow up with, but for the most part, your heart tends to be with what impacted you the most in your development. And the documentary definitely knows that. It recognizes that. It doesn't try to convince anybody. You should watch it. Absolutely, you should watch it. You might be like I was, a bit apprehensive. Is this going to be a documentary that tries to just convince everyone that the prequels are super brilliant and you just don't like them because you don't get it, man? No, it's not like that. Things we've heard a lot, things that people constantly try to bring up to us, right? To me. But nope, it's not like that at all. It has elements of that in some of the interviews, but it's not preachy, it's informative, and Bradley Weatherholt does a fantastic job. Anyway, enough rambling. You can watch The Prequels Strike Back, A Fan's Journey at prequelsstrikeback.com. I will toss a link in the video description below. Let me know what you guys think of the documentary if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Let me know in the comment section below. HelloGreedo, out.